The Iran-Israel conflict stands as one of the most complex and enduring geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. At its core, this conflict is rooted in deep-seated ideological, religious, and geopolitical rivalries that have shaped the region for decades. Iran, an Islamic republic, fundamentally opposes the existence of Israel as a Jewish state, while Israel views Iran as its most dangerous and existential threat. Central to this conflict is the issue of Iran's nuclear program. Israel has consistently and vehemently opposed Iran's nuclear ambitions, fearing that they could lead to the development of nuclear weapons. This concern has driven Israel to take aggressive action, including covert operations and sophisticated cyber attacks. The most famous of these was the Stuxnet virus, a joint U.S.-Israeli effort that significantly damaged Iran's nuclear centrifuges in 2010. The conflict between Iran and Israel isn't limited to direct confrontations. A significant aspect of their rivalry plays out through proxy warfare. Iran has long supported anti-Israel militant groups, most notably Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. These organizations serve as Iran's proxies, allowing it to challenge Israeli interests and exert influence in the region without direct military engagement. This strategy has led to numerous conflicts, including the 2006 Lebanon War and recurring violence in Gaza. Beyond the immediate Israel-Palestine region, both Iran and Israel are engaged in a broader power struggle for influence across the Middle East. This competition is particularly evident in countries like Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. In Syria, for instance, Iran has supported the Assad regime and established a military presence, while Israel has conducted numerous airstrikes targeting Iranian assets to prevent Iran from entrenching itself near Israeli borders. Israel's military strikes against Iranian targets, particularly in Syria, have become a regular occurrence in recent years. These operations aim to disrupt Iran's efforts to transfer advanced weapons to its proxies and to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military foothold close to Israel's northern border. While these strikes are often not officially acknowledged by Israel, they represent a significant escalation in the conflict and a clear message of Israel's red lines. In response to the perceived Iranian threat, Israel has pursued a strategy of diplomatic isolation against Iran, while simultaneously building alliances with other regional powers. The Abraham Accords, signed in 2020, normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, including the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. These agreements were partly motivated by shared concerns over Iran's regional ambitions. Iran, for its part, has strengthened its ties with anti-Western regimes and non-state actors, creating a network of allies to counter U.S. and Israeli influence in the region. The Iran-Israel conflict isn't limited to conventional warfare or diplomacy. It also encompasses a shadowy world of cyber warfare and intelligence operations. Both countries have engaged in sophisticated cyber attacks against each other's infrastructure and institutions. Additionally, there have been numerous assassinations and sabotage operations, with Iran accusing Israel of killing several of its nuclear scientists. These covert actions underscore the multifaceted nature of the conflict and the lengths to which both sides are willing to go to gain an advantage. The impact of this conflict extends far beyond the borders of Iran and Israel. It affects global oil markets, as tensions in the region can lead to price volatility. It also has significant implications for regional stability and international diplomacy, particularly involving major powers like the United States, Russia, and China. The U.S., as Israel's closest ally, has played a crucial role in shaping the conflict, particularly through its sanctions regime against Iran and its diplomatic efforts to curb Iran's nuclear program. While most engagements between Iran and Israel have been indirect or covert, there is always the potential for escalation into a broader regional war. Any miscalculation, especially involving Iran's nuclear program or retaliation by Iranian proxies, could trigger a more direct confrontation. This risk is compounded by the fact that both countries possess significant military capabilities and have shown a willingness to use force to protect their interests. The rhetoric surrounding the conflict often exacerbates tensions. Iranian leaders have repeatedly called for Israel's elimination in public statements, describing it as a cancerous tumor that must be removed. Israel, while generally maintaining a policy of ambiguity about its military actions against Iran, has made it clear that it is prepared to take whatever action necessary to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. The international community has made various attempts to mediate the conflict and reduce tensions. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, was a significant effort to address one of the primary sources of conflict. However, the U.S. withdrawal from the agreement in 2018 and subsequent reimposition of sanctions on Iran have heightened tensions and reduced diplomatic options for resolving the conflict. As the conflict continues to evolve, both Iran and Israel are adapting their strategies. Israel has focused on developing advanced missile defense systems like the Iron Dome to protect against rocket attacks from Iranian-backed groups. It has also invested heavily in cyber capabilities and intelligence gathering to counter Iranian threats. Iran, facing economic pressure from sanctions, has doubled down on its resistance economy policy and sought to strengthen its ties with countries like China and Russia to offset Western pressure. The ongoing conflict has had profound effects on the civilian populations of both countries. In Israel, the threat of rocket attacks from Iranian-backed groups has led to the development of extensive civil defense measures and a constant state of alertness. In Iran, the economic impact of sanctions has been severe, leading to hardship for ordinary citizens and fueling domestic discontent. Looking to the future, the prospects for a resolution to the Iran-Israel conflict remain uncertain. The deep-rooted nature of the hostility, combined with the complex web of regional alliances and conflicts, makes finding common ground extremely challenging. However, some analysts argue that changing regional dynamics, including the normalization of relations between Israel and some Arab states, could potentially create new opportunities for dialogue and de-escalation. In conclusion, the Iran-Israel conflict remains one of the most volatile and consequential geopolitical rivalries in the world today. Its roots run deep, its manifestations are diverse, and its potential for escalation is ever present. As both countries continue to vie for regional dominance and security, the international community faces the ongoing challenge of preventing this Cold War from turning hot and destabilizing an already fragile region. The Iran-Israel conflict has been a long-standing and complex geopolitical struggle that has shaped the Middle East for decades. At its core, this conflict is rooted in deep-seated ideological differences, regional power dynamics, and competing strategic interests. As tensions continue to simmer, both nations have engaged in a range of covert and overt actions that have only served to escalate the situation further. One of the most contentious aspects of this conflict has been the issue of assassinations and sabotage. Israel has been implicated in a series of high-profile killings targeting Iranian nuclear scientists, as well as sophisticated cyber attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. These actions have not only dealt significant blows to Iran's nuclear program, but have also intensified the hostilities between the two nations. The assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, a prominent Iranian nuclear scientist, in November 2020 sent shockwaves through the region and was widely attributed to Israeli intelligence agencies. Such targeted killings have become a hallmark of Israel's strategy to impede Iran's nuclear ambitions, but they have also fueled Iran's determination to retaliate and accelerate its nuclear efforts. The Syrian civil war has emerged as a critical battleground in the Iran-Israel conflict, with both nations vying for influence and strategic advantage. Iran has sought to establish a military foothold in Syria, viewing it as a crucial link in its axis of resistance against Israel and Western influence in the region. Tehran has provided substantial military and financial support to the Syrian government, deploying its own forces and proxy militias to the country. Israel, perceiving this as an existential threat, has responded with numerous airstrikes and covert operations aimed at disrupting Iranian activities in Syria. The Israeli military has targeted Iranian weapons shipments, military installations, and personnel, seeking to prevent Iran from entrenching itself along Israel's northern border. This ongoing shadow war in Syria has significantly raised the stakes of the Iran-Israel conflict, bringing it dangerously close to open warfare. The United States' involvement in this conflict has added another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. As Israel's closest ally, the U.S. has consistently supported Israeli interests in the region, providing military aid, diplomatic backing, and intelligence cooperation. Moreover, the United States has implemented a series of punishing economic sanctions against Iran, targeting its oil exports, financial institutions, and key industries. These sanctions have had a devastating impact on Iran's economy and have further fueled Tehran's anti-Western and anti-Israel rhetoric. The Iranian regime has portrayed these sanctions as part of a broader conspiracy orchestrated by the Great Satan and the Little Satan to undermine Iran's sovereignty and regional influence. This narrative has not only strengthened Iran's resolve, but has also made diplomatic solutions to the conflict increasingly challenging to achieve. In recent years, Iran has made significant strides in developing its ballistic missile and drone capabilities, presenting a growing threat to Israel and other regional adversaries. These advancements have allowed Iran to project power beyond its borders and provide sophisticated weaponry to its proxy forces throughout the Middle East. The Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, for instance, have used Iranian-supplied drones and missiles to strike targets in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, demonstrating the reach and effectiveness of these weapons. Hezbollah, Iran's most powerful proxy in Lebanon, has also amassed a formidable arsenal of Iranian-made rockets and missiles capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. This proliferation of advanced weaponry has significantly altered the strategic calculus in the region, forcing Israel to adapt its defense posture and invest heavily in missile defense systems like the Iron Dome. The conflict between Iran and Israel is not limited to the physical realm. It extends into the domain of information warfare and propaganda. Both nations have engaged in aggressive media campaigns, cyber influence operations, and state-sponsored narratives to shape public opinion and international perception. Iran has utilized its vast network of state-controlled media outlets, social media accounts, and sympathetic voices in the international community to portray itself as a victim of Western aggression and Zionist plots. These efforts often involve the dissemination of anti-Semitic content and conspiracy theories aimed at delegitimizing Israel's existence and actions. Israel, for its part, has leveraged its own media apparatus and diplomatic channels to highlight the threat posed by Iran's nuclear program and its support for terrorism. The Israeli government has also invested heavily in digital diplomacy, using social media platforms to engage directly with audiences in the Arab world and beyond, seeking to counter Iranian narratives and build support for its positions. The information war between Iran and Israel has taken on new dimensions in the age of social media and instant global communication. Both sides have been accused of running sophisticated disinformation campaigns, creating fake online personas, and manipulating social media algorithms to amplify their messages.